So good extension. Could be a little better. If you can see a space in between your shoulder and your head, then you probably have some room for improvement. The extension will help just how much water you pull with each stroke. So the farther you can reach forward, or the more rotated you are to the side as you begin the stroke, then the farther you have reached forward and the more water you pull with each stroke. That's why you're going for extension. It looks like you're finishing maybe just slightly early. We'll see better on the underwater section. Very comfortable breathing. Your head is staying very even in the water the whole time, so that's good. And your hips and legs are high in the water, so you're pretty streamlined. So when you're not breathing, it looks like your rotation could be slightly better. And by that, what I'm referring to is how far onto your side do you get. You don't want to get onto your side just to be on your side. You want to be on your side because you're reaching forward. Now you're reaching forward to a good point, so your hands are staying in front of your shoulder, like we discussed, so you're not entering in front of your head or crossing over or anything like that, so that's good. So it looks like with both of your arms, you're doing what I call a straight arm pull, meaning that there's not a bend or a different angle from your hand and forearm to your upper arm, or they appear to be in one line as you pull through the water. The issue with that is that the first part of the stroke doesn't really give you a whole bunch of forward propulsion. It's really just pushing water down. So the ultimate goal with freestyle technique is to enter the water and then your hand and forearm go vertical so that you're really anchoring your hand and getting a lot of leverage, and then you pull yourself past that point. If you recall the drills we talked about, one arm drill, catch-up drill, doggy paddle drill, and fist drill, are all probably the most helpful ones for working on that aspect of the stroke. The tech paddle is something you may want to check out. That's going to help you get into the proper position with the pull. With the finish of the stroke, you may just be finishing slightly early. That's not something I'd be overly concerned about. And you're pulling a good line back, so you're not crossing over as you pull under your body either. So looking at the right arm here, hand enters, and then starting to extend forward and rotating. So that was a pretty good extension. The rotation could be a little more before you start the stroke. And then this first 2-3 frames here, see how your forearm and upper arm are just in one line. That means you're kind of pushing water down. Now at this point you're pulling water back, but that first third of the stroke, not a whole lot of forward pulling. So we're trying to get every possible forward pull that you can out of your technique. And then finishing the stroke. So that's pretty good. Just a slight early finish. If you saw how your arm was coming out of the water right at your hip, you can push all the way through. You don't get a whole bunch of propulsion out of pushing all the way through, but every little bit counts, right? So good extension, and then you're starting to rotate over, and then the stroke starts. So maybe a little more extension and rotation before starting the stroke. And then looking at those first 2-3 frames here, see how your hand and forearm are really just pushing down, and it's not till here or the next frame right there where you're really now pulling water back. So what you would want to see in both these strokes is that your hand and forearm go directly up and down compared to the bottom of the pool as early as possible in the stroke, and that would mean you're pulling yourself forward. It just takes a lot of practice to do. The drills will be helpful. And then whenever you're swimming, think about rolling my shoulder over, getting my elbow up, getting my hand and forearm down. So thanks, and hope that helps.